Porpoise Pod, oh Porpoise Pod, Tua will expose the Bills as frauds. Welcome on in, everybody, and welcome back to Solana. Back together, Porpoise Pod, reunited, and it feels so good. We've put that loss. We needed a 24-hour rule just together before we gathered after that. Yeah. Too fresh of a wound. But Solana, it's good to be back. Porping with you, man. How are you? Well, how was your trip out west?
It was good. I missed you though, Tobin. I really missed you,
buddy.
Yeah.
I missed you too. What was it? What was your favorite part? Obviously, it wasn't the games. So, what was your favorite part out west?
In-N-Out Burger was pretty good. I've got to tell you, In-N-Out definitely up there. And you know, LA, Tobin, overrated. Let's start there. LA overrated, too spread out, takes you an hour to get from anywhere to anywhere. But am I fat for saying In-N-Out? I think that was my favorite part.
No, In-N-Out was good. I had In-N-Out in Dallas. I went to an Errol Spence fight. It was when we I don't know, were you there? Did you go on that trip? I don't know if you went.
I've heard that you and Crowder made Hawk walk like 7 miles or something like that.
That's right. I remember that. It was we went to Whataburger, which Hawk really wanted to go to, which I didn't think that was that great. He loved it, but I thought In-N-Out was way better.
Yeah. In-N-Out is legit, and you know, there was like a 30-car line, but you're literally in and out of there within minutes. It was great. It was perfect.
Delightful. All right, man. So I did a solo deal after the game. So first off, let's just get some of your thoughts. Just a couple takeaways you had from Sunday Night Football, your feelings of their loss to the Chargers. How much did you hurt? And what, I guess, bothered you the most from the game?
So I listened to your solo pod, and I was hoping it would make me feel a little bit better after the loss. And Tobin, I mean, it was tough to do that Sunday night. So
yeah, it was a fresh wound, dude. It was really tough too. I mean, I was at your Keg South and Kendall. I was in your stomping grounds.
After I missed your watch party, I'm like, you know what? I miss Keg South. So that's literally before we taped. I had dinner at Keg South tonight.
It was good. I enjoyed it. And we had a bunch of listeners. It was cool. But it was so odd because it was like I still had that same thing with the 49ers game where I was like, man, I feel like they're right in this. Yeah. I don't know what the hell these first halves have been. I can't explain it. But like between the explosive, fluky plays with Tyreek Hill and the bombs at Tyreek, I was like, oh, maybe. But, you know. It did sting. I'm not gonna, because I knew the laughter was coming.
Yeah, no, for sure. Emmanuel Acho is already off the Tua bandwagon. He put out the apology to Chargers Nation.
Let me tell you something. I could smell that a mile away. It smelled exactly like Kendrick Perkins. Remember when Kendrick Perkins was trying to get on the Heat bandwagon and was doing the Dem Goons thing?
Yeah,
I knew that was fraudulent. This guy was only in it for the clicks.
And he used the Hawk and Crowder show as the platform to do it too,
right.
which stung even more for me because I thought this dude was Miami through and through. And the second they lost one game to Boston, he's like, this series is over. Boston's going to win it. I mean, he jumped off the bandwagon immediately. Tobin, 2 days removed now because we're recording this Tuesday night. If I want to put a positive spin on it, right? If I'm trying to be optimistic, I'm right. What you said is where I'm at, which is as bad as the Dolphins played, as bad as the offense looked, in both of these games, you were there with a chance to win this game late. Had you gotten the lucky bounce on the onside kick, Jason Sanders finally could have done something worthwhile this season, then you had a chance to go down there and win the game. So as bad as they played, like that's me being optimistic, right? That's me telling myself, hey, they played their 2 worst games offensively all season with Tua in the lineup, and they still had a chance to win games against pretty decent to above average teams. Obviously, San Francisco is really good, but Tobin, I don't feel good about Sunday or Saturday night in Buffalo. I don't feel good about Tua in the offense right now. And to be honest, I was down bad on Sunday. I was down bad on that flight back home. I really was. I was down bad. I mean, I don't feel like this team is as elite as I thought they were previously going out on this West Coast road trip. And I'm trying not to get caught in the moment. I'm trying not to, overreact to two obviously bad performances that I don't think are indicative of what this team really is. I know Tua's better than what we saw the other day, but to me, so much was riding on this 3-game road trip. And whether we made too much of it going into it is a fair question, and I'd be willing to have that conversation. But bottom line is, these were 3 big games, and you pooped the bed in the first 2, and it's not going to get any easier. You're playing the best team of the 3 in the toughest conditions now on Saturday, and a team that wants to kick your ass, a team that feels disrespected. They feel like people have been hyping up the Dolphins, and they want to kick your ass. And I just don't see a way that the Dolphins can beat the Bills on Saturday. And I know this isn't the preview pod, but I just don't. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope everybody clips this and calls me a bum on Sunday morning when we porp it up after the game. But I just don't. I don't see it. I think this team is somewhere in the middle of what we've seen the last 2 Sundays and what we saw those 5 straight wins where they were the most prolific offense in the NFL. I think they're somewhere right in the middle, which will be good enough for a playoff run and maybe a playoff win, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. So I've totally changed course. I've changed trajectory on the outlook, my outlook on this team, and it sucks. I don't want to be here, and maybe you can talk me out of it. Maybe a win on Saturday totally changes my outlook, and I'm just going to be flip-flopping back and forth because I'm a coward, and I know I am, Tobin, but I just got to be honest. I can't lie to the listener.
Okay.
I have jumped off Dolphins Super Bowl bandwagon.
Wow. Just like that, huh?
Just like that.
Is it because it was Justin Herbert versus Tua? Like you were tired of everybody laughing at you on Twitter?
That's exactly what it is. Tobin, he had 6 completions before the final drive when they just let him dunk it underneath because they weren't going to give up the big play. He had 6 completions, and if you take away the 1 bomb to Tyreek Hill, he had like 5 completions for 80-something yards.
It was bad. It wasn't a great performance from him. I feel way worse about the game that he had in San Francisco, though, oddly enough, than I did with the Chargers game. I thought the Chargers had a good game plan. I think what stings about it is they're not a good defense. And the fact that you have to just say, hey, I think they outplayed us it sucks. You don't want to say that, but I thought that, with them, they kind of out-physicaled a lot of our receivers. I thought they took Jalen Waddle out of that game. I know that a lot of these guys are banged up. But San Francisco, I don't know who that was with him because he was just missing stuff, wide open stuff. That stuff that one to me is the more disheartening game because you lose to a 3rd-string quarterback on your defensive side and you lose to Tua not executing plays that were there. I don't know if the plays were there. I think that you got to give credit to that doofus Brandon Staley and his fake wheelbarrow balls because he did a good job against Mike McDaniel. They clearly were trying to take away the middle of the field. And I think they did a good job of that. I think that to me is still fixable and they can tune some of these things up. Obviously, it's not great going into a situation where they have to go win a game, and the first news that we get is it's going to be 7 inches of snow. That's not great because Tua, cold weather, not fantastic. That being said, you're already talking about, this Bills team. What are they, braving the elements? This team, that they're scared of everything. Oh, sun. Oh, we got to leave. There's too much snow. Let's go to Detroit. They finally got forced to play in some flurries last week. And all of a sudden you want to, give them a better rose. They have to play Joe Flacco half the time. That doesn't count.
By the way, do you have a ski jacket and maybe some boots I can borrow? Because I am a Miami dude with this sweater is the thickest thing I own right now. And I'm wearing it in 75 degrees.
If you legitimately want me to, and you're not doing a bit, I will bring you a jacket tomorrow because I was just in Tennessee. So please tell me if you want me to bring you something. It's probably, you're a lot skinnier than I am, so I don't know. It might be the coat wearing you, but yeah, I can help you out there. It's, and also you got to watch out for these idiots with their flaming tables. So be careful.
Oh my God. Buffalo fans are so dumb. I mean, I'm not looking forward to this road trip at all.
I mean, you better watch it. I'm just, the Dolphin fan has to be, the Dolphins have to be worried about sex toys being thrown out on the field and urinated snowballs. Just be careful.
And Josh Allen is gonna just be in your face QB on Saturday. Every throw, he's going to celebrate like he's winning the Super Bowl. Remember last year, they were up. The game was out of reach, and they went for 2 on a play, and Christian Wilkins went to fight him at midfield. But
they got some history, those two.
Yeah. But, the reason why the San Francisco loss bothered me, but it was frustrating that they left so many plays on the field. But the reason why this one bothered me more, and it was beyond Tua, it was from Mike McDaniel, where for the first time in the first half, the Dolphins can't get anything going. And for the first time, I felt like McDaniel dropped the ball in not being able to adjust. I mean, look, the whole offensive guru thing, so much goes into that. And what does that really mean? But he's shown us this year that clearly he's an extremely talented offensive mind. It's obvious at this point. There's no doubt about it. Even those games Tua was out, this Dolphins offense was putting up numbers. Look what he's done with Tyreek Hill. Look what he's done with Jalen Waddle. It's not a facade that he's put on through the first 13 weeks of the season, and all of a sudden the Dolphins' true colors are coming to light. I don't believe that, but I would have wanted to see a different approach in the second half, and there was none. There was nothing the Dolphins could do, in my opinion, and nothing they did that showed me that they went into the halftime and said, okay, clearly our game plan, we have to throw it out the window because it didn't work. Let's try this now. And that's what was frustrating to me, because in the second half, they looked just as lost.
I hear that from you, and I'm not saying don't be upset with it, but they lost Jeff Wilson, who is their power guy and really does set up all that play action stuff that they do. He is that thunder to Mostert's lightning. And, Tyreek Hill played a season low snaps because he's out there basically on one leg. You're not going to look like as much of a genius without Tyreek Hill. That's just the facts. And Tyreek Hill being limited on the amount of snaps that he was able to play is a tough go for him to not look like as much of a genius. But but also I'm not shook that he can't make adjustments from week to week. I think we have seen from him. This is a guy I think the fan base has had a lot of faith in. I'm not going to all of a sudden be completely, rats off a ship on the guy's ability to get things right with one time because he got out schemed. I think that this is part of he's a rookie too, he's got some learning to do as well. And everybody's got to get on the same page. I do wonder about, he talked this week about pressing and the players press. I wonder if he's pressing. I wonder what that's got to be like for him. We talked a lot about with the San Francisco game, Tua maybe wanted to do too much for Mike McDaniel, and maybe that was why he was so juiced up on those throws or something like that. But, he had this whole, it was my first trip out west and we bonded together and we all really got to know each other and love one another, and you fall flat on your face. I think that can kind of really spark you and be like, man, sometimes that stuff doesn't matter, and you just kind of get down to it.
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not out on McDaniel. I'm not just going to jump off the McDaniel train because of, one bad game. It's just what made me so frustrated about that Chargers game. It's that nothing worked. Tua's throwing passes that just don't make sense. There was one play where it's like a play action and he throws a bomb to Tyreek, and Tyreek has a step on the receiver and Tyreek just didn't see it. He lost the ball.
In the lights. Yeah.
He loses it. And then there was another play where he throws it to Jalen Waddle, and I don't know if that one wasn't as wide open as the Tyreek one was, but Jalen Waddle just didn't even know the ball was coming his way either. There were just throws. There's another throw that Tua throws to Tyreek Hill. There's 5 guys around Tyreek, and thank God Tua just threw it so poorly that the ball couldn't have been intercepted because Tyreek Hill's running down the middle of the field, and Tua just threw it towards the sideline and nobody was there. But he just looked totally rattled. And that worried me. It really did. From the very first series where the Dolphins go 3 and out, 3 incompletions, to me, he looked a little bit rattled. And I mean, it's December, bro. You got to step up your game in these situations. And we remember what he did last year in Tennessee. I brought it up a couple times where after that Tennessee game, I was seriously doubting if Tua could be the guy. And he's put all those questions to bed. I'm not questioning whether he's the guy. I'm not questioning how good he is. I know how good he is.
Yeah.
But, to be elite, the category that I was putting him in 2 weeks ago, he needs to be able to perform in these games. I think that to me, that's legit.
I just don't think, and I get your worries. I get it. But I just look at the character of the guy and I say, this kid burst onto the scene on a national championship game and won his team a title. He comes into the NFL. Nobody wants him. He's playing on half a hip. He's got to deal with all of that drama every step of the way last year. He has to deal with 9 offensive coordinators, all that stuff. And, finally was put into this position, and he's leading the league in quarterback rating for most of the season. He was a top 2 in odds for MVP. He's leading everything in Pro Bowl voting. Like, I just don't think that stuff gets erased. And also won a game with a concussion against this team. Like, all right, like got knocked out of the game against the Bills, came back and chucked bombs to beat their ass with limited plays. And I just think that the guy is as rock solid as they come with his fortitude. Not a good enough performance the last 2 weeks. Not excusing it, but I'm definitely still a believer that this guy's going to get done. Maybe he makes me look like a huge idiot. and Josh Allen smokes him, and AJ Epinesa and Greg Rousseau eat his lunch, and Ed Oliver, spears him. I don't know. But I just feel like that moment is going to be here for him. I really do. I feel like he has mostly answered the bell. They have had time now. He had a couple times where they were riding high. Now they've been humbled a little bit. I just feel a great sense that he is going to be able to, and Mike McDaniel is going to be able to bounce back. I don't fear the Bills. I haven't feared them all year. I would say if you told me the teams that I would be more worried about the Bengals. I would be more worried about the Chiefs. Teams that are like legitimately like, have been further than the Bills. What has this Bills team done? They are this team is a paper champion. In the boxing terms, we call this an email champion. Sometimes a sanctioning body will just email somebody a title and declare them champion. This team has done nothing, been nowhere. They're the most notorious losers out there, and their fan base whined about the sun. So I'm not going to sit here. And by the way, Mike McDaniel's taking pot shots. He's telling them nobody cares about the weather. Don't tell me that's not a subtle dig. He knows what he's doing.
Yep.
Everybody calls me crazy on this. He knows what he's doing. I don't know, man. I feel like I hated what happened because I knew it was going to be coming. You had a lot of people who were starting to either bend on their opinion of Tua or were backing off their opinion of Tua. But all they really needed was one to pounce back on and be right where they were. Don't let Dolphins, I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to Dolphins. Don't let their cowardice bleed into your cowardice.
But we needed at least a decent performance against Herbert.
I understand.
I needed it.
It was
I needed it. I'm not saying he needed to go out there, throw for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and be, Dan Marino. But to have to sit, I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter and I'm getting some stats for Joe and Jimmy, and I'm saying, guys, we're down 23, whatever it was, 23 to 14. He has 6 completions right now. He has 6 completions.
I was shook at half. What do you have at halftime? He had, was he 3 of 15 for 25?
I mean, I was shook, bro. I'm telling you, I was being a coward at halftime. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna get out of hand. I'm with you though. The Bills are,
but did you not still think? Be honest with me. When he hit that bomb to Tyreek Hill, did you not think they were winning that game?
I thought they were winning that game. 100%.
I thought they were winning that game.
And I thought it was Baltimore part 2. I thought he was going to turn it on.
That's the thing that is crazy about it, is because this guy's number one critique all year is he's not going to be able to have explosive plays. And that's really all he's had over the last 2 weeks, because the other stuff, the stuff we think he's great at, the things that we know this guy is elite, dissecting a defense, throwing over the middle. That's what's been lost. And that's what's odd. And that, I think, is the crazy. I feel like he's going to get that back because he's been good at that his whole career.
Yeah.
I feel like I just can't. That guy's just not gone. Yeah, maybe teams have made an adjustment. I don't think that he can adjust back to it.
I hate that argument by a lot of people that I'm seeing that the Niners were able to figure out the script for Tua. Like they figured it out now teams know exactly what to do to scheme against Tua defensively. And I hate that because it's not like Derrick Henry, where they're just stacking the box. I mean, bottom line, you still have to stop Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and you don't just know how to do that from one game to the other. So I hate that argument. To me, as much as because I read the stat, I remember Marcel Louis Jacques had tweeted out that towards the end of the game, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle only had like a yard. Tyreek only had a yard of separation, and Jalen Waddle had less than a yard of separation against defenders, which is
This is
insane.
San Fran or LA?
Against LA, which is insane considering every time he was throwing them the ball, they were so wide open. So I hate that idea where they took away the middle of the field. And maybe they did, but Tua can throw the ball to the sidelines too, So I don't think that Tua can't or won't be able to now throw the precision short passes that we've seen or middle passes that we've seen just because the Niners and Chargers did it. So I'm with you there. Like, I think that will return, but I need to see it. I need to see it.